Hey, how's it going? Raymond here. Hey, I just want to take a few minutes, kind of bring a special training to you. I've been actually working with my team recently, and we did this training actually quite a while ago, but it wasn't like I'm going to do today. So my team actually asked me to redo this and bring this to you. Today we're going to be talking about crushing limiting beliefs. And we're going to get into a minute exactly what is a limiting belief and how to do this. But it's really identifying, the meaning that we put behind things, or another way of saying it is our story. What is keeping us from getting to the truth? And really, the secret to life is finding empowering meanings out of the experiences that we have. So there's only two, right? There's disempowering meanings that pull us away, and then there's empowering meanings. So let's jump into this. And okay, so what is a limiting belief? A belief that holds you back from the truth. It's a story. It's what we make up. It's we all have them, and we have them usually at the worst time. And I'm gonna share with you how to identify it, and how to change it, and then how to reinforce it. Those three things: how to identify it, how to change it, and how to reinforce the new belief that is not limiting you. So so often we have a story. Something that truly is so often that's made up, and it's not necessarily ours, and it really it limits us. It really limits our capability. So often we say we can't do something, or ever we use these global beliefs that everything is this way. It's always this, it's always happening. Things are against me, or I can never find employees, or I can never find the right customer, that sort of thing. And, I want to, right now, I want to tell you that those who succeed get really, really good at those three things I just mentioned: identifying what they are, learning how to change it, and then reinforcing the positive or the good belief that is going to get you to the result. So here's a couple examples. I can never seem to grow, or I always get these kinds of customers, or why is this always so frustrating? Or or you can even throw in, why is this always happening to me? And that is a story, because we are using, in some of that language, we're using global beliefs, that everything always happens to you, or it's always frustrating. And those things are not true at all, right? Because if we really think about it, we can identify times when things aren't frustrating, things are going very well, or that you can find the right customers. You're doing the right thing. And so often we hold ourselves back because of this belief, because of this story that we actually tell ourselves. And I want to interject in at this point and really, bring up another point that really a lot of these are created. And that is when we are frustrated, or we are upset, or when we're upset about a action that someone took, or something that happened. What you're really upset about is the meaning that you put behind the event, the meaning that you put behind the meaning that you're giving it. Everyone can make a judgment, but if you look at it as an opportunity to come up with multiple meanings or solutions, you can break through your limiting beliefs. So when you get upset the next time that a customer calls and does something, just understand that you're getting upset at the meaning that you're putting behind what they're saying. The how you feel, or how you think you're going to feel, or how you think it's going to how it's going to play out for you. So I'll give you a quick example. I used this example before, and it's really easy. If do you like roller coasters? And there's some people who absolutely hate them. They're petrified, they're scared, and some of them some people love roller coasters. But let's say for a fact that you absolutely love roller coasters. And you and I get on a roller coaster together. And let's say I hate roller coasters. I'm deathly afraid of them. So I'm just the opposite of you. You love them. You're excited. I'm afraid of them. But we both get on the same roller coaster. We buckle up and we start going up that first run, and you hear the click, 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 right as it goes up. And as it crests over the top of that ridge, you're coming down the backside, and you're just, raising your hands. You're super excited. You're screaming. You're yelling. You're so elated. You're just absolutely amazing. You're so involved. You love it, right? There's so much excitement. You're just screaming. You look over at me, and I'm petrified. I am just, my hands are clenched, and I'm holding, my arms close to my chest, and my head is down, and I'm scared to death. We come back into the station and we get off, and you're just hooping and hollering and screaming, just super, super happy and excited. And you look over at me, and I'm still sitting in my chair. I cannot get out. I'm so scared. Biochemically, physically in our bodies, there are different things that are actually happening. You're actually so excited and you're happy. I mean, things are happening. You're actually you're building up your immune system. Things that are going on in your body at that moment actually build your immune system. You're getting healthier. You're getting stronger. For me, it's just the opposite. I'm literally creating things in my body to destroy my immune system, to actually break it down because of our triad. And I know you've heard of this before. We're going to touch on this here in just a minute. But the point is, you and I went on the exact same event, the exact same thing, exactly the same time, but we have completely different meanings. You're so excited about it, absolutely thrilled, ready to go back on it 5 more times. I'm so petrified and scared, I can't get off the actual lift. So there are different meanings that we have for the exact same event, even though we experienced it together. So let's jump into that. So before we touch on your triad, the 3 S's is your state, your story, and your strategy. And in business, you need to master these. I want you to write these down, take a picture of this, put it up on your board, do whatever you have to. But it always goes in this order. Your state is always first. Then it goes your story, and then your strategy. So your state is your triad, how you're creating a positive, strong environment with your body, with the words that you use, and what you're focusing on. When you're in a strong state, now you need to identify and build and create your story from that empowering state. Your story is one that says, that you can crush this. That you can overcome these challenges that you're experiencing because look, you've already gotten to this stage. It's all it is about creating that story in your mind that says, look, I'm not limited by money. I'm not limited by skills. I'm not limited by time. I'm always resourceful. I will always find a way. I'm decisive. I make decisions. And from that place, that's where you actually build your story. And then, only then, when you have a strong state, when you have a strong story, that's when you find and or implement the strategy. For this entire program, that's what I've wanted you to do, is to have a strong state, have a strong story, and then go out there and implement these different strategies as needed in your own business. And from those 2 places, that's where you also identify what you need in your business and go out there and start making the small 2mm shifts. So your triad is what creates your state, right? So at every moment that you're awake throughout the day, at any time, you're in a triad. And sometimes you're in a triad every 5 minutes. You could be in a different triad. So the different sides of the triangle is how you're using your body. Are you sitting in your truck feeling like your back is just killing you and your body hurts and you need a break? Are you focused? If so, then you're focusing on that. You're focusing on I'm in pain. I hurt at this moment. And the words that you use is I'm tired, or I'm frustrated, or I need a break. That triad is very different than, dang it, yes, my body hurts. Yes, but that's not where I'm going to stay. My focus is on the future. My focus is on doing something to change it. I can go, when I get home, jump in the hot tub, or I can get a massage, or I can stretch. I can exercise my body. I can start eating healthier. I can cut down on the caffeine, cut out the alcohol, whatever. Whatever it may be that's bringing you down, that's disempowering you, you can make that change. And then specifically the words, right? Words equals the meaning, and the meaning is the experience. That's why I gave you the roller coaster example. Is the meaning you put behind the event is the event. Think about that for a second. I mean, you might be thinking about tons of things going on in your life, or past experiences. The meaning that you put behind the event doesn't matter what you did. It's the meaning you put behind it. And I'm sure if you're married or have a spouse, you guys have experienced multiple things, and at some point you both had different meanings, different experiences, but yet you went through the exact same event together. So what is a empowering triad is one, as I just mentioned, is all three sides of that triad. Something is being done to give you strength and help you build that story. If you have a strong story, is to help you implement that story, that strategy that you need. A triad, you want a triad to match your outcome. Listen, if you're, I'm making this up, but if you're doing $1 million a year and you expect in the next 2 years to jump to 2 million, there's obviously, that's a really big outcome. There's going to be some big steps. If you have never done commercial work and you've been residential and now you want to start doing industrial and commercial work, that's a different realm. There's different levels of communication. You're going to need to have a strong triad to be able to step into that world and have the certainty and the confidence that you can conquer it. And then every day you need to condition this triad over and over and over. Reinforce, hey, if you start, maybe you cut out the alcohol, you start exercising again. Now you have to start working on maybe a different focus. Maybe you start writing down every day, create a brag book. I have a brag book sitting right next to me right now that every day I write something down positive, something that I did that I'm proud of. Hey, I accomplished something, or I made a tough phone call, and I made sure that outcome was the best outcome for everyone. Whatever it is, write that down. Reinforce those wins. Celebrate those wins. And then if you have a strong triad, so often people, I just talked to a contractor, be honest with you, just a few weeks ago, and he was having problems with, job after job after job. The issue wasn't so much the job, wasn't so much the customer, it was him. It was his attitude. And I tell you what, fortunately, he was open to us really having an honest conversation. And I dug in and I got him to the doorway and he was about to go through, and he went through and he came back, and then I said, look, if you give me permission, I'll kick you through the doorway. And he said, go for it. And we did. In about 15 minutes, I got him in and I literally kicked him through that doorway to really change his triad. And I tell you what, that guy is thanking me. He's turning things around. It's his mindset towards his customers is shifting massively right now, and I'm so happy for him. I really am. So again, how would your customers respond if you had a strong triad that was really designed about the outcome, the long-term outcome, to build loyal, raving fans of your customers? How would your employees perform? How would they respond if you came on the job and you were, yes, you're the boss, and yes, you can, tell them what to do, but you came on the job and you asked them how things were going. You asked them, how can you help out today? Change things around to where it's not all about you. And I'm not saying you do this, but I tell you what, in our positions, we get to this place where we're the owner, and we're driving this machine, but everyone that works for us and everyone that we work for, they're all humans, and they all have needs. They all have things that we can really do to contribute to their life. And boy, I tell you what, when that happens, things really open up. So let's touch on the kind of wrap it up here. But here's what I want to do is share with you how, when you have a limiting belief, what do you do with it? Well, this is what you do. I borrowed this from Byron Katie's The Work. It's really, she does some really awesome stuff. But when you are ready to challenge and break a belief, there's three levels, basically three levels of questions that you need to ask. First, is this true? Could this be a misinterpretation or a misperception? Do you have all the possible information necessary to know exactly what this means? That, I tell you what, you guys, if you don't have a partner or accountability person, I would suggest you write these down, put them on a big piece of paper or a regular piece of paper, just blow them up. But every time you have to talk to a customer and there's, they're upset or there's a challenge or something, read these questions before you have that conversation. I know it sounds crazy, you guys, but it absolutely works. Take the time to read these, get back into your heart, and really try and understand. Seek first to understand before being understood. Number 2, what do you feel, experience, and become like when you believe this thought? So if there is a limiting belief that says, I can never find employees, there's nobody in the market, boy, that's really limiting. Because here's the thing, is that really true? No, that's not true at all. I mean, so many people from construction have gone to trucking, who now have been in trucking and they're like, this is not for me, but I don't know where I want to go back. I don't like my job, or I didn't like my boss, or I didn't like what we did. There are tons of employees out there to pull from. There are people that are working in our industry that are happy. They just don't know that there's something better out there, and you have to create that. There are people in our industry that are unhappy, and again, they don't necessarily know they don't want to go to something that's similar to what they have. They want to go to someplace that's better, and maybe you can't offer more pay, and that's fine. It's not all about pay, but it's about an environment. It's about how they feel. And number 3, there are people that are outside our industry that are doing other things that would love for a different environment. Would love to learn some trades, but you have to write the message directly to them, and that's a whole nother training. We'll get into that another time. But anyhow, number 3, if this thought didn't exist, how would you feel, behave, or experience life or this situation? What would you do differently? So if you didn't have this limiting belief, what would you do differently? I tell you what, if you just stopped right there, I tell you what, most of the time, like 99% of the time, you would completely crush any fear or discomfort or anything that you have by answering that question right now, right there. If you had the belief that there are no employees, that the market is so tight that no one's available, or it's extremely hard to find people. If you didn't have that, how would you act? If you knew there were plenty of people available, what actions would you take? So think about that, let that sink in, because that's the direction that you need to go. So finally, how do you, so when you have a belief that empowers you, you want to reinforce it by stacking. So we just question a belief, and during that process, you're going to come up with a more empowering belief. If you go through the process, you'll find, hey, yeah, before I thought there was no employees available. Now, all of a sudden, by asking these questions, I'm thinking outside, and I realize there are so many more possibilities, so many more things I can control. And when you develop that new story, now you have to reinforce it. And you reinforce it by stacking 50 ways why that is true. And I want you to do that. Write down that new belief, write down the new story, and now you go through and identify and just write. Don't judge what you write down. Just write. And then you'll come back and you'll really identify that, holy smokes, there are so many things that reinforce this, that what I was believing before wasn't even my own belief. So often we pick up beliefs from other people, our surroundings, and I call it following the crowd. The problem is, if you do that, you're just going to get what the crowd has. And unfortunately, there's a lot of contractors that are stuck in that place. So my whole goal is to snap you out of that, to get you out of that realm. And if you've got 10, 12 contractors in your area that are competitors, I really want you to identify what will separate you greater than anyone. What can you do to totally separate yourselves from everyone else? And it starts, really here. I've given you so many things up to this point, but it truly starts with crushing your limiting beliefs. Realizing, we had a contractor a few years ago that all he did was dental offices, and he traveled, my gosh, he started out at 40, 50, 60 miles. When we met him, he was 200-300 miles that he would drive, because all he did was dental office. He was a very specific niche. And anyhow, we worked with him, and it took a while. His staff got on board a whole lot faster than he did. But within a year, he really could see, right, he really had a lot of limiting beliefs that he had to travel, and he designed his whole life so he could do this. Well, in a year, he was back down to about 90 miles or less. And then 2 years later, he was less than 60 miles, and he absolutely loved his life again, because he was making a whole lot more money, and he was only traveling, less than an hour away, which was very reasonable for having such a tight niche like that. So anyhow, you guys, I hope you got some great value out of this. Come back and watch this training over and over. Hope you took really good notes, and we'll definitely catch you next time. Take care.